Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, today the Church invites us to contemplate the exemplary life of Saint Severinus, a noble Burgundian who became a humble abbot, whose memory we celebrate on the 11th of February. His story is a living testimony to divine grace and the transformative power of God's love. I'm John Peter, and welcome to Faith Chronicles, a Catholic channel where we explore the inspiring lives of saints who intercede for us before God. Saint Severinus, a testimony of healing faith, monastic devotion, and divine providence. In the late 5th century, when the Arian heresy held sway in Burgundy, young Severinus stood firm in the Catholic faith. Born into nobility, he chose to forsake worldly riches and dedicate his life to God. This decision led him to the Monastery of Agaunum, nestled in the Alps, where the future Saint Maurice and his companions had been martyred. At that time, Agaunum was a humble collection of scattered cells, far from the grand abbey it would later become. It was in this simple setting that Severinus began his monastic journey, embracing a life of prayer, penance, and charity. His devotion and wisdom soon elevated him to the position of abbot, where he guided his fellow monks with compassion and spiritual insight. Under Severinus's leadership, the monastery flourished spiritually. Little did he know that God had greater plans for him beyond the monastery walls. In the year 504, news of his holiness and the miraculous healings attributed to his prayers reached the court of Clovis, the first Christian king of France. King Clovis had been suffering from a persistent fever for 2 years, defying all efforts of his royal physicians. In a moment of divine inspiration, he sent for Severinus, hoping for a miracle. Our humble abbot, always attuned to God's will, bid farewell to his monks, prophetically telling them he would not return in this earthly life. As Severinus journeyed to the royal court, God's power flowed through him. In Nevers, he encountered Bishop Eulalius, who had been deaf and mute. Through Severinus's intercession, the bishop's faculties were miraculously restored. At the gates of Paris, a leper approached him, and with a touch and a prayer, the man was healed. Arriving at the palace, Severinus approached the ailing king. In a beautiful gesture of humility and faith, he removed his own cloak and placed it upon Clovis. Immediately, the fever that had plagued the king for years vanished. Clovis, overwhelmed with gratitude, responded with great generosity, distributing alms to the poor and freeing his prisoners. Having fulfilled God's purpose at the royal court, Severinus began his journey back to Agaunum. However, divine providence had other plans. He stopped at Chateau Landon, where 2 priests served God in a solitary chapel. Severinus, ever humble, asked to join them as a stranger. Even in this brief encounter, his profound sanctity shone through, leaving a lasting impression on the priests. It was here, in Chateau Landon, that Severinus foresaw his own death. In 507, surrounded by the simplicity he had always cherished, he passed from this world to his eternal reward. The site of his death later became an abbey of Reformed canons regular of St. Augustine, a testament to the enduring impact of his holy life. Brothers and sisters, let us meditate on this question. How can we, like Saint Severinus, use our God-given gifts to bring healing and hope to those around us, regardless of their status or condition? Dear friends in Christ, I hope that Saint Severinus' story has touched your hearts and strengthened your faith. If you were inspired by this narrative, I invite you to become part of our Faith Chronicles community. Like this video to help us reach more people with these inspiring stories. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any episode of our Chronicles of Faith. Comment below sharing how Saint Severinus' life impacted you or which saint you'd like to see in our next video. Share this video with friends and family who may benefit from this message of faith and courage. Remember, every saint has a story, and their stories come with the grace and power to work miracles in our lives. Together, we can keep the flame of faith alive and inspire one another in our pilgrimage towards heavenly triumph. Until the next episode of Faith Chronicles, may God bless you abundantly.